Cryptocurrency is a scam. Cryptocurrency is a scam. What gives me the right to have this opinion? Well, I've been in the financial services for over 30 years. I was a financial writer for over 25 years. I wrote several textbooks. I was a university professor, and I wrote over 1,000 published articles. And I want to share with you one lesson that if you take from this video, take this lesson. The only things not known is the history, not studied. Yes, if you look in history, you'll see craziness like happened in the cryptocurrency with other things. Now, I had the pleasure of meeting Sir John Templeton back in 1992. He used to come to Toronto. Now, any of you who know Franklin Templeton will know Sir John created it. It was funny. He was knighted by the Queen and he had a Tennessee accent, really cute. And he stood in front of everybody and he said, "You should not be in this business investing if you have not read Popular Delusions, Madness in the Crowds by Charles Mackay. This is a book that was written in 1847, and it talks about craziness, lunacy in the financial markets. It talked about tulip mania, where people were spending the equivalent of a castle on a tulip, something that if it wasn't planted, it would decay. And then what almost brought down Britain was the South Sea bubble. What that was is there was a company, it was trading on the London Stock Exchange. There was rumors that they had special concessions given to them in the New World by the Spanish government. And what happened is people made fortunes. You know, it almost bankrupted the British when it collapsed, when it was found that it was a house of cards. Now let's look at cryptocurrency. Why I say that it's a scam. Well, let's look at the demographics. We had baby boomers. We had so much cash, huge amounts of savings. People were trying to get whatever return they could get. They didn't know anything about this crypto, but they heard that, hey, this thing is great. It's not attached to a government. It's limited in how it is, like it's like how many are going to be produced. Let's say Bitcoin 21 million. Did you know that most of the mining for Bitcoin, this is like new coins being introduced into the market, happens in China? That's a big scam. Think about that. Well, that being said, I would actually say that you should look at crypto and say, how is this any different than Tulipmania or the dot-com era or the South Sea bubble? Every time people threw out their brains, they checked them in the freezer, and they said, this time it's different. How is it different? Now, I am not very proud about what I'm going to share with you. When I graduated university in the recession of 1990, the first job I had was at a bucket shop. Do you know what a bucket shop is? Well, it happens to be the lowest part of the financial service industry. What happened is we pumped stock. Now, the only people pumping the stock were the brokers who were doing it because no one was buying it. And it kept on going up, 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 but try to sell it. See, if the government doesn't allow Bitcoin to be exchanged, it's worth nothing. It's worth nothing. It's backed by nothing. It's only goodwill. You want me to explain to you how you can become a billionaire? I'm going to share with you. You want to become a billionaire with crypto? I have a idea. I do not recommend it. This is just how it works, but this is the way I'm sure that a lot of these people offshore who created these different cryptos made paper money. Because again, it's paper money or zeros and ones. It's not real. Let's imagine I create a crypto and there is a million crypto. I go to my mother and I give her $1,000 to buy crypto from me. She buys it for $1,000, and I give her crypto worth $1,000. Well, if I have 1,000,000 shares, guess what? I'm a billionaire now. That's how it works. Do you understand? You know what else is pretty crazy? These markets like Bitcoin and everything, it's just people passing shares between each other. There's no real trading. So the value is not even there. And on top of that, there's no accountability. It's all over the place. I was involved in the .com era, and I remember seeing people come up with business plans on napkins, and they were given billions of dollars. These were companies that did not do anything. And you know what people kept on saying? You don't know business. It's changed. It's different. Well, human beings and greed has not changed. I want to ask you a question. What is crypto? Like, seriously, you have to exchange it to something to be able to buy something with it. What happens if you can't exchange it? It's worth it. Worth less. I'm not saying worth it, it's worth less. Could you imagine holding $1 million worth of Confederate money after the South had lost the Civil War? This is literally what's happened with people running to crypto. And listen, it sounds exciting. It's like I don't really understand it. It becomes mystical. But this scam has been played. There's this guy down in Mexico. He's the most arrogant guy I watch on YouTube and all these other channels. And guess what? He's so hubris and it's a scam. He told 200,000 people who get his newsletter, who think he's God, that a new coin is coming out. He probably owned it himself. And he recommends it. He recommended it. It came out at 80 cents. It dropped down to 2 cents. But guess what? He's laughing. He's laughing at all of you. Listen, you have a responsibility to not be taken. So, this is what I'm going to suggest. I can only speak from experience, knowledge, which hopefully has given me a little insight. And this is what I want to share with you. Do your investigation, research it. Do not take someone else's word. Do not. I'm a really simple guy. I like owning land, gold, and silver, things I can touch. And you know what's pretty ironic? I worked on the Canadian Securities course in Canada. That is the equivalent to a Series 6 and a Series 7. And I only like holding things, things that I can hold, that I can see. Because in the end of the day, remember, you come into this world alone, you leave the world alone. And your responsibility is to make sure that you get the most out of it and you, again, learn. Learn that anytime there's a quick fix, it usually is not worth it. Esau had his story of the tortoise and the hare. That story was not for children, it was for adults. This is a story of a race between a tortoise and a rabbit, a hare. And the tortoise does the work while the hare is lazy and loses. Remember, it's those who actually take the long view that end up winning. And if you have not studied history, you are doomed to repeat it. And I saw people lose millions in the .com era. I did. I saw it. I also saw people lose millions, believe it or not, in the real estate crash in the early 1990s. I saw people lose millions in the housing crisis back in 2008. You have to be wise. You have to understand. You have to study demographics. You have to understand what is happening around you. And when you do that, you will be successful because you're making it as an informed consumer. Have a great day.